Recording, Mrs. Ryan.
Yippee!
Jim Broutman. That's your name.
My new bestie.
There it is. Oh, your new bestie, Mrs. Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take it. Hello. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Look at that. All out of focus. Let's put some lights on. Push some buttons here.
Oh, my coffee was so hot.
What's that?
I took a big sip and my coffee was so hot.
Oh, and that was a surprise to you.
Oh. Yeah.
What a hell of a time to try that out.
Yeah, well, hello, everyone. This is what I do.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan.
Hello.
We are the Ryans. This is It's Tonight's Show. We have an awesome guest that we've been getting to know already. Jim Broutman is here today in studio. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
He'll be in just a few minutes. And until then, Mrs. Ryan, what are we doing today?
Well, I feel like that is that.
300 the bus. Yeah, no. What? Go ahead. What are we doing today? I'd love to know how this
goes.
Yeah, because I trust you implicitly.
Well, if we have an East Coast feed, I'd love to see it.
We do, and I am glad that you brought that up. Hang on just one second as we check in with the East Coast feed.
Yippee.
And Steve Kaz.
This is Ryan, Steve Kaz and the East Coast feed, featuring Jim Delaney behind me. Say hi, Jim.
Hi.
There you go. He's supposed to say hi, Jim. It would have been funnier that way. As you can see behind me is one of these FedEx packages. One's for you. Weird. But I had a rant to go on real quick, just to let you know. Something strange happened today at work. One of our newest people came in and said to the manager that the woman's attorney was here, and she didn't know what that meant. So we looked at her and said, that's a lawyer. And she was like, oh, okay. By the way, this person's old enough to drink. So I don't know where society fucked up, but that's a problem.
Making America great again.
Yeah, we didn't make America great again in this one. Let me just tell you. Just want to send that rant for the day. Love you guys.
He's so funny.
I want you to be down the street so I can hear these stories just in live time every day.
All right, we have a bunch from the Kazman today because these are stockpiled from last week.
Okay.
He started sending them on whatever our last day we did a show was, and then I think he's like sent one every day since.
Cool.
So let's go to, that was Thursday of last week. Let's go to Friday.
This is Ryan, Steve Kaz, the East Coast feed, enjoying this beautiful weather. Sitting out back at work, just got done with the day. We're sitting with Coraline. Say hi, Jonesy. Hello. Jonesy is tired, so she wants to take a nap. We're just playing with cars today, sitting with Daddy on the swing and nature and shit like that. Miss you guys.
He cracks me up.
I love how genuine it is. Like,
Yeah.
even if it's not, we're at Great Adventure today or at the Mets game or whatever, there's still like a, well, we're going to treat it like it's the same thing, and I'm going to make it really cute for a completely different reason, and
Yeah,
et
he's a good
cetera, et
dude like
cetera.
that.
All right, let's check in with him over the weekend where he was in New York City. Roll it, Hal.
Morning, Mr. Ryan, Mrs. Ryan, Steve Kaz, the East Coast feed. Whatever, there's always morning in my world. This is Jazz. Yeah, then there's that. We're here at the wonderful Coney Island Brewery. We are in Brooklyn. Notice the drinks. And bang! We're about to show you part one of the East Coast feed. I almost spilled her beer. Because we're going to go to the Brooklyn Cyclones game shortly. We're on Coney Island, the world famous
Superhero Day.
Superhero Day, hence her Batman hat and her Batgirl shirt.
Oh, wait.
Wait.
Don't forget.
And then
The belt.
the belt buckle. She may have found that a great adventure. I'm just saying it's okay. Listen, love you guys. Part 2 coming soon.
Hi,
It's
Jazz.
always
I
something.
love your belt. That's
Now, you actually
hilarious.
know Jazz, right? You've met her?
I met her. We watched that Team America movie with her.
The answer is
She's
yes.
hilarious.
Okay. You watched it. I thought you went to a game.
That was before. That was like pregame doings.
See, I was, yep, okay. The gist of it was you know her already, right?
Yes. Correct.
What else have you done together?
That whole bunch of dumb shit.
All right, let's see what part 2 was from that same day. Roll it, Hal.
Mrs. Ryan, this is part 2 of the East Coast feed. There's Jazz, there's me. We're in Brooklyn, at Coney Island. Cyclones, as you can see the field behind us. The beach is right over there as well. This is how we do it in Brooklyn. Let's send you some love for round 2 of East Coast feed. Hopefully you can hear us over King Henry who's screaming in the background. Oh, by the way, we're winning 3-0 in the first inning. Woo! Love you guys.
Good job! Is all I can hear. What I take from that is superhero day is what I heard there. Did you hear? It's superhero day over there. Apparently.
I was trying to figure it out. I just was so enamored. That makes sense.
That's pretty funny. And then one final one, I believe, was actually from Sunday night. But either way, it was clearly at the end of a long and exhausting weekend. Here we go. Roll it, Hal.
Mr. and my...
Making none?
Yes, Jonesy. I'm trying to spit this out and have Jonesy right here. Jonesy, what are we doing? We're saying hi, Jay? And hi, Nicole. Can we say hi, Jay, and hi, Nicole?
I get you too.
Did you guys get that? That's the East Coast feed coming to you live on a random weekday night with me and Jonesy hanging out here at Dunkin' Donuts. Jay Ryan would totally get a bacon, egg, and cheese and dance like this child right here when he got one. FYI, Sugar Rush. Who doesn't love the best dad on the fucking planet? Love you guys. Peace, LA.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So that's East Coast feed for the day. But how much do you love that guy, that family, the activity
Everything
that he
about
maintains?
It's crazy.
I get worn out just watching it. He's always in all the
Agreed.
different places, and it's so great. It just reminds me of our old life. But I think of what our levels are these days, and it's like, holy smokes.
No, I'm like, one of those things would have been plenty for the weekend.
Yeah, I know.
But I just have to say thanks, because that's the first time Coraline said our names that I've heard.
Yeah.
So really, that just melted my little heart.
I have to agree. That was pretty darn cool. Thanks, Kaz.
So.
That was cool, Mrs. Ryan. We should talk about the beginning part of the week and how we haven't been here. We did a show on Monday. You will probably never see it until this is such a big thing where there's a DVD with extras and bonus features and stuff. We had some technical difficulties. Some of the equipment melted down. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's fine. Co-host meltdown.
What's that?
Co-host meltdown.
Oh, I see. And a hand raise. Just one.
Well,
That's all right. No, this is part of the process. We're doing it now while we don't have as many clicks, so that later when we have more clicks, we'll know what we're doing and we'll have our shit together. Truthfully, nothing that bad happened. It was just like we were exhausted, and at the end of it, we were just like, no. Which has happened before. It's like we've done 80 episodes, and I think there's like this is the third, I think, second or third. There was a Derek Whitaker one, and this is the second one maybe. So I mean, it happens. There's a dud here and there.
a dud.
Don't beat ourselves up. But what did we learn? Because I think that's important, that we learn something from it and then explain it so that we can all grow, like everybody be part of this process.
Can I explain it?
Please.
What I learned is that I have to be, one needs to be conscientious of their own energy, always. Because it's easy for people to be drains on other people without realizing it, especially. And I am the biggest victim of being an energy vampire. And so that's what I learned out of this process was like, I'm exhausted. So like I operate sometimes from a really low place, and that can be like low happy, but it usually is like low not happy. So I have to be conscientious about my emotional level, and the lower my whole energy level is, the easier it is for it to go like mean and dark and sad and blah, blah, blah. So I don't even realize, but it's like temperature for me. Like I don't know when it's hot. I don't know when it's cold.
Yeah.
I know what doesn't hurt. So...
Well,
what does.
Being an energy vampire is a double-edged sword because one, you have a bit of a superpower. It's kind of a superhuman ability to be able to feed energy to your own self off of other people. The bummer of that is that by the time you actually need to do that and are doing it, it doesn't happen regularly. When you're happy and in a good mood, you're not siphoning off other people's energy. You've got your own. It's once you've run out that it starts to happen, and unfortunately, once you've run out, all of your defenses and everything else are down. So you feel the need to push them back up. Not you. One. I do. Everybody feels this. I shouldn't say that. Everybody has this in them. You feel whatever you want, folks. Did not mean to say that. That was terrible. Anyway, I think it's very cool that you're learning from it, and hopefully we will all see the results because you learn from it, and then you show me what you learned, and then we both learn from it, et cetera, et cetera. It's a process.
It's a process. And however I can help anyone through it, I'm happy to, because this lesson learning can't just be for me. Because I mean,
exactly.
it's a lot of awesome information, but like I'm only one person. It's got to go somewhere.
Absolutely. We did do a Kaz Family Guy challenge the other day. This here, we sent this, and the line was, "I'd love to stay and chat, but you're a total bitch." That was won by the Kaz man. I believe Mikey was driving or something, but that's what it was. And Kaz won. I wanted to at least, I didn't tell them on the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, watch the show for the answer, and then we didn't air the show. So I felt like, wow, that's dangling, left it dangling.
It was
wanted to at
dangling.
least take care of it. Mrs. Ryan, there is a question that is on everyone's mind, all of our viewers, all across the world, not even the
Wow.
country, the world now.
That's the
I am going to relay it for them. Mrs. Ryan, what's going on?
Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
What's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
Well, what they found apparently recently, and almost I just want to preface this with like every story is like for me and Jim to talk about it later over coffee and shit if you don't want to. But I think they'll all resonate. Neurons can carry more than one signal at a time, is what they found in the study. And what made me really kind of resonate was, how you used the example of a switchboard with me a lot?
A dispatcher, yes. Yeah, yes, like an old operator. Switchboard type, yeah. You're
And
right.
that's what my brain looks like sometimes. And that's why sometimes it goes into the wrong one and whatever.
But I'm not saying that just about you, just so you know. I use that analogy for anyone I use it for neuroplasty, really. Anyone who's rebuilding things. It's like you gotta be willing to let go of all the old, or none of the new has any room. It's like a defrag drive. Like you gotta reformat
Gotta
that
clear
drive.
it
So
out.
you gotta yank all the things out, and then figure out where they go, and then redo it all. From your new bag of tricks.
Yeah. It's so important to know what you're locking into, I guess, for me. And then, so what the study was, it talked about how early switchboard creators, like engineers and shit that made this.
You're kidding. So they use the same analogy?
Yes, which is
Nice.
why I was like, I got to talk to you about it.
I'm glad I broke mine down.
Yeah. Well, they said that in the early days of switchboarders, the engineers figured out a clever way to transmit more than one phone call over the same wire. And it was to literally switch very, very quickly between sounds that they were picking up on. And so if you apply that to how the brain works, it helps me understand part of how I get so confused about things. And so, again, it's like a nice reminder to like slow down and see what you're tapping into.
I feel like this makes perfect sense, but it comes back to Nikola Tesla and alternating current. It's the exact same thing. The reason
Yeah.
that's able to work is because of the pulsing nature of it. Vibrations surprise people.
Okay.
So I think it's probably the same thing, because if by pulsing, by hopping along the line, you're not on it all the time. So you're leaving space to allow other things to use that same
Interesting.
line. Does that make sense?
It makes
you're
so much
alternate. You're
sense.
hot. You know what I mean? It's a dotted line, and someone else is using the blanks.
It makes so much sense to me, and I see the analogy in shows that we've watched and different like concepts. So I understand.
That sounds really neat to me. I feel like that will be one to follow for sure. There will be a lot more.
I will
to that.
definitely follow because it makes sense, and it seems like when you unwire stuff.
And same thing when Jim gets in here, you guys might have a little chat about that as well.
Yeah, Jim, have a think about anything I say and see if it relates. The
We
second,
we just took care of that.
Oh, sorry.
See that?
Did
Why
I-
did you? Yeah.
Then
no. I'm asking, why did you feel the need to then?
I don't know why I double up. I'm gonna thank you for calling me out. Thanks.
I don't care at all.
No, but I appreciate it.
Okay.
Period. It was unnecessary. Blah blah blah.
Well, yeah, it was you took it. You're like, yeah.
I got the touchdown. I did not. I did not.
Awesome.
I go for the extra points in my head. Okay, second one. Netflix expands to radio with a new Sirius XM channel coming next year.
What are your thoughts on that? I read that also.
I am not a proponent of it
Well,
at all.
I have to assume that this deal was put in place long before the announcement of this quarter report. So although I have to say that they coincide at a very interesting time of like, we didn't quite meet what we thought we were, but we've got this other plan.
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah,
It reeks
apparently
of
just
that.
today.
Well, apparently they
It was
announced
announced
it today. It's the Netflix. They're calling it Netflix as a joke, which was their campaign a year ago, I think, on
It sounds like-
billboards and stuff.
It sounds like it's going to be a new comedy thing, but with cut-ups from the Netflix stuff, right? It's just going to be an audio version of some of the Netflix stuff.
That's what it sounds like, and
What's
I'm
the
not.
Raw Dog or one of those other? I can't
Yeah.
remember what the channels are anymore. On
Raw
CNN.
Dog is the comedy one I listen to, and it was annoying because it was just snippets of stuff, so I wanted to hear the whole set. But then I also was like, ugh, I want to see it. This is just like a weird tease, so I feel
Okay.
a little bit the same way.
Okay. How do you don't know how I feel yet?
I know.
So how do you feel the same way?
I feel the same way about this as I did about that. Not
I gotcha.
you, but I would really like to hear what you think about it.
I don't want to. The news is very,
Too long.
very long.
Okay.
Here's the deal. I would love it if we could keep it to like, here's the story, and then you editorialize. You tend to editorialize first, during, and then after also.
Okay, I will knock that shit off.
No. You should do it however you want.
No,
I'm just
that's
from
annoying.
a
Thanks for-
communication standpoint.
Thanks for the tighten up note. Third one, quickly. Police are harnessing consumer DNA sites to solve old murders, like cold cases.
I didn't hear this. Am I wrong? It sounds like it violates a ton of privacy issues, but whoever thought of it, what a good idea.
Yeah, that's why I want to give like mad props
like wait a
to this
second.
little company.
I mean, that's, I haven't killed anybody or raped anyone, so I'm in the clear on this one. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't have a skeleton waiting to come out. I would
Right.
imagine maybe other people wouldn't be so thrilled about this, but I think it's kind of neat. That sounds cool to me.
I think it's super neat. It's how they found the Golden State Killer, and it's not through the actual killer having DNA in the system. It's like a relative using ancestry DNA or whatever.
Are we
the
calling it
fuck.
in the system now? Is that the term?
No, but that's funny. In like the governmental, like
I
can
see.
nab
That
you
system, I see.
So
I thought we were talking about if a rapist left DNA in the system. I was like, that's a very neat workaround you've done, so we can talk about it on television in the system.
it all connects, but they're using like
I'm just
ancestry.com
kidding
and
with you. See, I'm talking. Okay. Next one.
The last one is happy and healthy relationship signs.
This is one of them, folks. I can tell.
Here's the deal. I love you so much. And yes, we do have one. And you've taught me so much about what this looks like. And I appreciate it. It's giving me a new foundation for how to be a good person.
Laughing together's got to be good, right?
It's on here. And
gotta
it's
be
one of the
healthy.
things you laugh together is a sign of a happy and healthy relationship. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciating the small things is a big deal. And you've taught me about that. Productive arguments, which I think this show just shows. And you're proud of your partner. I'm
I
so
am.
proud of you all the time, and I feel that you're proud of me. So
That's awesome. Mrs. Ryan, wow.
ending.
Way
on
to end with a
positive.
nice one. Gee whiz. That was pretty good, gotta say. Mine are from Monday, because we never got to it. Papa John, out. See ya. Bradley International Terminal. I'm bringing this one up because it's in Connecticut. Two brothers were arrested after their flight for talking loudly about guns and stuff. And then they got arrested at the airport after.
Whoops.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. It was one of those things. I don't know that there's actual story there. I brought it up because it was Connecticut and not a whole lot happens there. Especially, when it comes to like a possible terrorist report. I'm not trying to take out Hartford. Hartford's already been taken out.
Oh my god.
No, I don't, it's rough. People are literally jumping out of cars for the hashtag in my feelings.
What?
Yeah, I guess it's hashtag in my feelings, then you Instagram yourself like getting out of the car in traffic and like dancing next to it or whatever. This was called ghost riding like 10 years ago, and it called being a fucking moron 10 years before that, and you know what I mean? Stop it.
That sounds weird.
It's just dumb. You're dumb for doing it. You're endangering all of us.
Agreed.
And by the way, like, I'm not saying it. I'm saying it. I bet some of these kids don't have insurance.
Yeah.
So, like, their car's going to run into ours, and then it's going to be our problem to take care of really everything.
I agree. Stay in your car.
stay in your car, especially if you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
And
What are you
get
doing?
insurance.
Get
Gee whiz.
insurance.
That's the fucking message.
Yeah.
Pranksters, this is my favorite. Pranksters trick a Wyoming city that was not named in any of the articles I found that covered this, by the way.
No.
It was not a mistake. Pranksters in a Wyoming city, trick the Wyoming city into growing weed in its downtown decorative flower pots. Yes,
They
think
tricked
about it.
the whole city?
Yeah, but they didn't trick anyone into doing anything.
Right,
but what
okay.
people did was they went and they planted pot plants in the city's planters, and then the city went and maintained them and grew them
That is awesome.
until somebody was like, hey, what's this weird, is this poison ivy? Nope. We're going to
That's
have to
funny.
confiscate that. And then another thing that I just thought was interesting from the Back to the Future world, plutonium went missing in San Antonio back in 2017. Still don't know where it is. Our government. Or nobody. Nobody knows where it is. Somebody knows where it is.
I'm going to show my idiocy and say I didn't think plutonium was a real thing. So the fact that it's missing is crazy to me.
And you know Libya is a real country also, right? Now,
Yeah.
Doc Brown, fictional character.
Yeah. I find weird shit like that happens to me a
Christopher
lot.
Lloyd, real actor.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's there's a whole story as to why they picked some up, left it in the car overnight at the hotel. Somebody broke into the car. You know the whole thing. I don't know how that happens. The truth is they really don't know what happened to it. And by now, a year later, it's certainly, even the article says, it is most certainly now within some larger surplus of stolen plutonium. Because it wasn't like a huge amount, and I don't know how much you need.
There's
There's a lot of DeLorean owners out there that I would call suspect, though. I'm just saying. Everybody's got to be so authentic and accurate.
Oh, that's so
Screen
nuts
accurate,
to me. That
real
is
plutonium.
sad. That is so nuts to me.
All right, we've gone on forever here. Let's take a break, Mrs. Ryan,
Okay.
and we will come back. And when we're here, a very nervous looking, but not really, Jim Broutman will be here.
Yay.
More to come. You guys ready?
Ready.
We are ready.
Sound great.
We are back.
Hello.
What's up, Jim?
Not much.
We're
I'm
here
so
with-
excited to be here.
We're here with Jim Broutman, ladies and gentlemen. We're very happy that you're
No,
here.
thank you. This is huge for me because Nicole and I both have a similar disease. She has
Yeah.
MS. I have a new form of MS. And it's so new, I'm really on a mission trying to raise awareness. So thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm actually zooming in on you now. You're wearing a Mayo Clinic
I'm
shirt.
wearing my
We'll-
Mayo Clinic. I'm plugging. I'm doing
Good
some
job.
plugs, right?
Good. I'm sure we'll get into all of this stuff. I would like to start by saying that this is the first time we've met. And I had thought for some reason that you guys knew each other because of the familiarity with which you speak about Jim. This is your first time meeting.
It's amazing, though,
Yeah.
because we got a mutual friend of ours, Lori Cantor, Finn,
Yeah.
email or Facebooked us
Facebook.
that we should just get together, talk. She sees my posts.
I don't want you to feel constricted here.
Oh,
so
sorry.
you do no, don't be. That's my whole point.
So-
don't feel bad. You just
She
do what
put
you
us
gotta
in
do.
touch, and I had no idea you were in PR. I just I think I went on LinkedIn first. We had 67 friends in common, which is crazy.
That's a lot on LinkedIn. That's a lot
That's
on
a lot,
LinkedIn.
right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Facebook, we had 40 or 41, and we don't know each other, but now we're like best friends just from, 5 minutes
Yeah.
of chatting. When you go through both things, being a publicist and having MS, there's just a natural bond.
It's a unique
It's a unique
crossover right there.
So, anyways, I want to talk to you, though, about your desk.
Whoa! Oh,
Can you
turning the
tell
tables right off the bat? Sure.
My
What's up?
friends that are watching, what this is like incredible.
Yeah, well, I guess you didn't know until you walked in here, and I don't know how that occurred, but this is actually Letterman's old desk and chairs. This is
chairs.
the actual old stuff. And
What's
there's a
that?
picture
Amazing.
behind you there when it was actually in the theater and used.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
And
You
we
were in
won't-
PR then, so did you bring anyone to the show then?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
This is when he first started at CBS. So this was
Oh,
90.
you
This
know
was
what?
when this was like,
I don't
20 million people were watching.
I did like
96,
Letterman in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, on NBC.
oh, okay.
wait a minute.
before.
Oh, what? You're right. I did both. See, here's my brain fog. We
Yeah.
need to talk about brain fog.
Brain fog.
Yes,
okay.
I did at the Ed Sullivan Theater, but oh my God!
So
and
that's
we
what
had a
this is
mutual
from, sure.
friend. We have mutual friends that come in too. It's amazing. Rosie O'Donnell, you worked
Well,
for.
yeah, I worked for her. Sure.
She was-
I was just a kid. I was like, it's funny. I
Wait,
started
what
that.
year? Oh, so it was when her show started. So
Yeah, it was
after I
1994 or 1995 because I was a senior year in high school when that show started, and I was I had an internship where I was at 30 Rock during the day.
That's so
and I went to
cool.
night school.
worked. And she, like I said, I was her first publicist. Sorry, Rosie.
It's so
And-
cool. You said you
I
did
love
A League of Their Own with her.
Yeah, Gina Davis.
is
we
one of my
had
favorite
cool is
movies.
her, and it was just like.
What do you mean, Gina Davis? You had?
We represented Gina.
Oh, of course. So you were a
And-
publicist, and you. So how did you have the whole movie, or how did that?
No, actually, it's really funny. I worked with also Angelica Houston, and
Drop something.
she was doing Addams Family, and I met her hair and makeup people, which I'm sure you're very familiar
Yeah.
with hair and makeup, and they were just really cool. They're from New York. They'd been. One of them, her name is Fern Buckner, did all of Woody Allen's his makeup, all his films.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh,
Just
so she was
cool
there for all
people.
of it. So you're a different. Yeah.
The
I
other
love that.
guy, the one that did her hair was just this great guy. So Gina, Adam's Family had wrapped, and Gina I think someone dropped out of A League of Their Own, and she got the part at the last minute. And
Oh,
she
no
needed
kidding.
hair
The
and makeup.
lead. Holy crap.
So I'm like, well, my friends just got off, and she knew Angelica, like doing Angelica's hair. Next thing I know, they're going over.
It's always
and
how it
doing-
works, man.
I know,
You
it's
know
like
that.
crazy.
It's
Now
the
I lost my
coolest.
train of thought already.
Hair makeup.
What were we talking
Angelica Houston.
Gina Davis was
Gina
not cast
Davis.
originally.
You guys represented
League of Their
her.
Own.
See, this is what happens.
I know.
And everyone says it's old age, but do you agree? It's like you got brain fog.
Here's what I think. To try to answer that very quickly, I think MS is just your body dying faster in different pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, is it like old age? Sure.
Yeah.
Your mind is the mind is like an old person's for us
Right.
that have worn it the shit out.
Right.
And so yeah, some parts mimic old age.
Right,
I
they
walk
do.
like an old person sometimes. I have the memory that's like an Alzheimer's old person.
Right.
I don't
Me
have
too.
any of that stuff. And I think the lifestyle change you were talking about earlier of like I think it's all connected. Like your life slowed down so drastically. Mine slowed down so drastically, and it speeds up inconsistently.
Right.
And it did with the job and the whatever. So once I know how to normalize myself in the sea of chaos that is different speeds of life moving around me, depending on who I talk to,
Right.
it'll all equalize. It'll be fine.
I
But
love
that's
that.
on my
That's on your
job. So I have to figure it out.
And you went through the same experience. It took how long for you to be diagnosed?
I don't know if we went through the same experience. We kind of only like piecely talked about it, but mine was really truncated because I was really aggressive and pretty bitchy about it. It started with one doctor, with an eye doctor, because I had optic neuritis. But it started with a migraine that I'd never gotten after I exercised. I was an athlete growing up, so like I don't get headaches like that.
Yeah.
Like I get muscle soreness, and
Yes.
that's just you take Advil and you move on. Like that's what being an athlete is.
Right.
So it's how I train myself. Like I just move through pain. Like I swam all the time with sore muscles and ripped muscles and
So it
just
wasn't
swim.
like sticking out to you that there was an
No, and so like emotional traumatic pain falls into the same category for me in my head. So it's like I had a really high tolerance to pain. So
Right.
you could treat me like shit and I'd be fine.
issue. Right.
Until my life slowed down and I had to address and look at all that stuff, like really look at it and be like, do I like to be treated this way? Do I like walking like this? And so much of it was when I fell in love with someone who I actually cared to listen to. And that's what you started saying, like when your life slowed down, it was, I know it not totally the same,
Right.
but a lot of your symptoms seem to appear most prominently and prevalently when your life slowed down and you slowed it down to accommodate someone that you loved. So whether it was your husband or their family or your family or whatever it is, you know, it's just, to me, it's like, is it like an old person? Yeah. If you like sped up time for an old person, yeah, my body works the same way. I totally rambled. This is what.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
I'm totally following you.
Okay, good. Well, back to
But
that.
my experience was weird in a sense to me because, you know, I was an event planner with Dylan's Candy Bar, and I'm doing candy bars. It's all fun. And one day I'm doing a candy bar, and I had this weird back pain. And I was lifting like hundreds of pounds of candy, you know, for each party. I'd never had back pain. I had this odd pain. 3 days later, I couldn't pee. And and those
Where in your back was the?
It was like
lower back, lumbar?
lower back.
Lumbar, okay.
But it was. I've had lower back issues, and this was different.
Was it sharp? Did you know? Was it a
can't
muscle
even-
pain or was it like
Well,
a bone pain?
It was achy,
Okay.
which I realized because the next 2 days I laid on the couch. My husband kept telling me that I didn't even remember this, and that's when my brain thing was starting.
I know exactly what's going on.
Right, because we're with her.
Yeah,
But
and I've
so-
had the same thing myself.
Oh,
I
right,
truly believe
right.
that you're leaking spinal fluid at
Yeah.
that point.
Oh, well, that's
I truly
what-
believe
that's what happens.
Oh, yeah.
So-
okay, well, it's happened to both of us. It's a
I
fucking
didn't
nightmare.
realize that.
And you
Yeah,
get laid up.
Oh my God.
It happened to me recently. And it was
It's
bad.
horrible.
Yeah.
And no one, unless you go through it, no one understands.
Hers was from a spinal tap, but either way,
Right.
like no matter what it is, or whether there's a rupture or whatever,
It's really.
I feel like it
kicks your
could kill you
ass.
because I would have rather
I
been
know.
dead at that time than been in the pain and the.
I would tell my
delusion.
dad. I would literally call my dad and say, "Dad, I was like crying, like I literally want to kill myself."
Yeah.
And I didn't, but I felt so.
So she was on a job, on a trip in Miami in the heat, doing a photo shoot with a
heat's-
very high profile person, and dealing with
Dealing
that.
with that. No, you can't.
Working
It's,
on the phone, telling me I'm miserable, trying to stay
Right,
alive and
right.
conscious. I'm
Well,
sorry
I
to take
ended
that
up-
and tell your story, but it was like. This is your story. I want you to know that you have two people that actually know what you're talking about,
that's
which is probably a
amazing
rare
and
audience.
Sad. I mean,
It's
God,
probably
I
a
wish
rare
no one-
audience. I wanted you to
Right.
just realize.
Well, thank you for. I sorry, I didn't actually know.
No, it's
you
fine.
started to tell me, but I didn't realize his was actually spinal. But mine, I literally. This was Thursday that the back pain started.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, laying like Sunday, just all achy, my whole body, but really bad on my sides. And
So had it gotten, sorry to interrupt, but had it spread at all, the pain that you were feeling?
yes.
So it
But I didn't
creeped up.
realize it because something, like
Yeah.
I said, wasn't right with my brain. So Sunday, I love that you're laughing because we get it.
You know I'm
I know.
I'm laughing with you.
I know, with me, not at me. Everyone else laughs at me,
Yeah.
so this is good. So Sunday night, I couldn't pee. I felt like I had to pee, and I couldn't.
It's the worst.
Monday morning, still couldn't pee. And my dad had warned me that actually the same age, I was like 53 or something, he had an enlarged prostate and he couldn't pee. So this may happen to you.
So
If
you've
it
had
happens
this
to you,
already in your head.
Go to the hospital, get catheterized, blah, blah. So that next morning I went to the hospital, got catheterized. They sent me home and said, find a urologist. So it was Thanksgiving week. This is now Tuesday. My husband was so great. He found, I was just in another zone at this point because, again, my brain. But it's like you don't realize it's happening. So my husband found a urologist for, literally, we got to go see the next day. It was like a 2 o'clock appointment. He went to work, and I got out of bed, and I fell. And I stood up, and I fell. And I just kept falling. I couldn't stand. I was actually paralyzed. So in the midst of it, I broke my ankle. And from falling like a million times.
And
I
not
just couldn't-
feeling it.
And then I called my husband, sorry, Kevin, and my friends and said, something's like weird. I'm not able to stand up. And my husband's like, well, wait till I get home and we'll go to the urologist. I'm like, okay. Now, normally I would have been like, something's not right here. But my brain was definitely affected. P.S. We go to the hospital when he came home, and all these MRIs, spinal tap.
They did all of it on that.
All of that.
Once you got
it was
there.
a medical center.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a hospital. A
Yeah.
local medical center.
Where were you?
Who literally saved my life in Long Beach.
Yeah. Okay.
Los Alamitos Medical Center. They saved my life. So they did all the tests. They were rolling me out of the MRI, and someone said, you have transverse myelitis, and we think you have MS. You need to have it checked out. And it turns out there were 2 lesions when they did the MRI.
In your brain?
In my brain.
Okay.
2 is kind of the minimum,
Yeah.
I found out, where they really don't know what to do in terms of
Not
treatment.
sure whether to call it or not, right?
Yeah. So, but I was paralyzed. So they gave me a steroid treatment.
Yeah. Did yours
And-
go in what looked like a ball?
I don't
Well, you
think
were in the
so.
hospital,
While I
right?
was in the
Oh, sorry,
medical
yeah.
center.
Right,
It
right.
wasn't even a hospital. But thank God
But you
these
were in a
guys
place.
knew. No, transverse myelitis, 1,000 people a year are diagnosed with it. It's very,
Very
rare.
rare.
And it
What does it do again?
It paralyzes you. It's a
But it's
spinal. It's,
yeah.
a lesion, and mine was. It was like, I know someone actually. My old boss, her nephew. It happens to young kids. He is on a breathing machine. He's completely on a ventilator. Had it. It.
Full quad, full everything.
Yes,
He's, oh
it's
my
so
God.
horrible. So, to make a very long story short, I was so, when I came home, so weak. I mean, it took 1.5 years for me to be at this place. And I couldn't, my brain was all like screwed up. It's just, it was so weird to me because it came out of nowhere. So,
That's when you have to start pulling those
Yeah.
plugs out we were talking about
Right,
before
well,
because they don't work anymore.
exactly. Well, I've learned through PR, my mom died at an early age.
Sorry.
And I learned that if you can, you need to go to the best and get the best
Yeah.
medical. So I found the #1 guy for transverse myelitis, Dr. Benjamin Greenberg. He's at UTSW in Dallas. He was amazing. He recommended a neurologist here that he worked with for me to go to, Dr. Ardith Courtney. She's amazing. So what happened was she saw the 2 lesions. She told me, you can start treatment, but it's very toxic. But why don't we just wait and see what happens? You're going to have another episode, but let's just wait. So literally 1 year to the date of my first one, I got optic neuritis. And I went back to her and to a optic neurologist and blah, blah, blah. And she started me on treatment for MS. So 2 months in, and it's still screwing with me. I went for a follow-up appointment, and all throughout I had been doing blood tests because I don't know if you did any of these drugs, but they're like chemo.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very toxic.
That's what I used to tell people. I'm like, this is like early chemo.
It
And they don't
is.
know what they're doing yet. So I
Right.
stopped.
Yeah, it's all experimental.
So 2 months into taking it, I had a follow-up, and she literally walked in and said, "We have a problem." And I'm like, and I love her. I mean, like, she's sarcastic like I am. So we bonded, and she could talk to me like that, and it's fine. But I'm like, what kind of problem? She said, "I sent your blood work to the Mayo Clinic because there's a new form of MS. And most people that have transverse myelitis and optic neuritis are the ones that are being found to be positive for this." And I'm like, "Well, what is this?"
Yeah.
And she said, "It's called anti-MOG syndrome." And I'm like, I go, "Wait, do I still have MS?" Like, I'm
Yeah,
so
what are
confused.
you talking
What
about?
about the lesions? And she said, they are pulling all the people that are testing positive out of MS, and they're reclassifying your disease. So now I have something called anti-MOG syndrome. So again, she told me that I knew Mayo Clinic was the place that's, what's it called? Diagnosing it.
Okay.
So I fought like hell to get in to see the head guy at Mayo Clinic. I just felt, again, like, and I was the 1,000th person in the world to be diagnosed with this.
Come on.
Now, my doctor told me it was actually 1,019. I think he was kidding. But that's what my doctor here told me. So I'm like, and no one knows about it. It's brand new. There's one treatment if you have these issues, and it's the steroid that I was on the first time. So I didn't know what to do. It's like, it's scary. You're like, your head's spinning. And I literally fought to get in. I met with the guy. He was amazing. His name is Dr. Sean Pittock. He's the head of neurology at Mayo. And he's a character and so dedicated.
All right. Well,
to
you
doing
seem to be
this.
doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got energy. I mean, we all have a memory
I'm
thing.
fighting
you know
that
what I mean?
thing, but he gave me 3 options. One was to do nothing and wait for another symptom. I know what the early signs are, and we'll treat it with a steroid and hope it. The other was to do steroids like continuously for 3 to 6 months. No. And the third was like these horrible meds. So right now, I'm not
You're
doing
just
anything.
going,
Coasting,
not doing
yeah.
anything.
That's
That's what I'm doing also, and I do think it's the only way to learn about it.
Right.
For yourself.
Right.
Because what I found, my experience with the medical community sounds very different. And I used to call them my Letterman doctors because remember when he got sick, like he brought them all out and whatever. And I guess I still do because they made me really look at myself to be like, what is going on? What is all this about? But like, I didn't even know about your new, like, anti-MOG, whatever. I didn't know that MS had been siphoned out in any way. And when I was first diagnosed, I put for a diagnosis. I wanted to know what was wrong with me, or so I could. And I'm the worst. Like, I'm such a planner.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, an old job trait. But like, I wanted to know what was coming
Right.
because I had just gotten with you, and I remember like
this is
sobbing.
back when you thought you could know what was coming.
Right.
Yeah, before I realized it was all a
can't.
crapshoot.
You can't know what's coming.
Can't.
What I didn't get
Just go
from my
along for the ride,
doctors was what you got, which was options of like information of like what my doctor said to me, and I had the head of neurology at whatever.
Right.
So I really like trusted any recommended specialist and blah, 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 blah. But what he said to me, and I come from comedy similarly to you, where like, yeah, you can joke with people and
Right.
like that you come from a similar baseline of like trauma and like understanding and whatever. So when my doctor, the head of neurology, said, "You're not interesting to me because your case is so minimal," I thought, not that he was joking, like, haha, but I thought, like, okay, new baseline, like, we're fine.
Yeah.
But I trust you because you must know what this is. You're the head of neurology. But he never told me what might happen.
Right.
He just tested me for stuff that happens
Because
to people.
it's science. They
Right.
don't know.
And he didn't know. And so I'm not any longer holding that anger.
Yeah,
But I did
but
for
it
a
is
long time
frustrating.
because I was with 13 specialists that I
Yeah.
trusted.
I think it comes
I
down
know.
to your belief system. If
Yeah.
you believe,
Right.
if you bestow these people with a tremendous amount, these people with medical degrees with a tremendous amount of power, then they wield it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change what they know or how good they are or any of the things. What we all know as a collective society at this point.
100%.
So it's one of those where like
Well, I have two other things I want to
Oh,
kind of
please,
add to that.
please.
One, just about my situation, and that's so important, is the antibody. The whole thing about anti-MOG is they found an antibody in MS patients back in the 80s.
That we make?
I don't even know how it works. I just know it's an antibody. And for some reason, I always go like this when I talk about
Antibody.
antibody. I make a plus sign. Why? I have no idea. But they
Power
found-
of Christ compels you.
So they started, and I'm Jewish. But
No, but isn't that from The Exorcist?
Oh, yeah,
The power
exactly.
of Christ compels you.
Exactly.
The power of Christ compels you.
So I,
Yep, sorry.
brain fog.
Sorry.
What was I saying?
Antibody.
So they found an antibody in the 80s in MS patients, and they didn't know what it was. And it took literally till now, like the last year or so, for them to actually figure out what it was. And the whole point of an antibody is that with an antibody, you can find a cure.
Because you have the inverse, right?
See, I don't understand that part of it.
He does.
You
He
do.
gets the nuts and bolts of how things work. And so I
MS
say
doesn't
words.
have an antibody.
Yeah.
A cold doesn't have an antibody. That's why they can't cure it. So it's good news for people that are testing positive for
Yeah.
this. But at the same time, it's early on. They literally don't have any studies. I'm like one of the first people to participate in the study. I mean, it's a bad thing, but I think one of the reasons they got me in quick when I finally did get a hold of Mayo, my number is like skyrocketed high.
What number? Your
you know how you
antibody
have
number?
Blood work, you have normal to high,
Yeah.
or low to high. Low is 0, high is 20. I have 1,000.
Shut
But
So it's just slightly over.
just slightly over. And I thought that was the reason, like, my doctor would be interested in me, which is what you had said, the opposite. He's not interested. But he actually told me, and it's on some of the footage I sent you, that the number he doesn't believe correlates to the severity of the disease, which is kind of
Really?
weird.
Do you want to
And how do you
watch that thing that you sent? Let me know when you want to watch that.
Yeah,
thing.
if you
How about
want to
that?
run that thing,
I can play it right
he's
now.
just this amazing guy, and I
What's
love
his name
energy.
again?
Dr. Piddock.
At
Sean
Mayo.
Piddock at Mayo.
Here, let's first show a picture of you guys.
He's
I think we have that, right? That's
and
you
this
guys
guy
together.
is so sweet. He put his arm around me. Like, I didn't even. He took me on a 1-hour tour of his research lab that he apparently doesn't do with anyone.
Yeah, you said that to me, and I'm
it
just blown
was-
away.
Like, I met the girl that diagnosed me, that actually was doing my blood sample. It was cool.
That's pretty
so
cool.
anyways,
All right, you want to
this
see
is
the
part of our tour.
Okay. And then this will be the video of him talking, right?
Yes.
Okay. Roll it, Hal.
And then in respect of the antibody that you have, the antibody testing is 2 antibodies, basically the water channel antibody, which we talked about, and then the MOG antibody. Right. And the MOG antibody we've just started doing that since October.
So was my actual sample done here?
Yeah,
right
it was done
yours?
here. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
wild.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
Have a look, actually. Let's see. If we
Sure.
can- Who works on flow, Joe? Is there anybody working on flow? Is she available for a minute, or? Sorry.
Oh,
It was like parting the Red Seas with the people there. It was kind of wild.
The other good thing here is that our last lab we had no windows. So the staff are really happy now because they've got a nice bit of window, and you actually can have there's a little bit of a view, and you get some sunlight in.
yeah, I think they need the
because
sunlight.
otherwise we're blocked. Otherwise
does.
everybody was blocked in.
He's real sweet. But the great thing, this is so funny as a publicist, you'll get a kick out of this. When I met with him, I told him after we had our discussion, and he had me doing a bunch of tests, I was there for a week, that I wanted to raise awareness. I have a PR background, and like there could be all these people out there that don't know they have this, and
Yeah.
if there's a cure, my God, this would be so cool. So that's how he took me on the tour. When we got there, he had arranged for the girl from business development, who was like the marketing girl, to meet us there. And I asked him, I knew as a publicist, before we went in, I asked him if it's okay for me to film. And she just stepped right in and said, I don't know if that's okay. And he literally looked at her and said, he can film whatever he wants. This has all been blah, 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 blah. And this is his tour. He can film whatever he wants. And from that moment on, I was like, I love this
Whoa.
guy.
Done.
Put her in her place. And I felt bad because that would have been our job to do. So I got what she was doing, but hello. So
Now we know.
I'm airing it on YouTube.
I love it. I have 1,000 questions for
Oh,
you.
and
So whatever I can do to help you raise awareness for
That's
whatever.
my other thing. So,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you really about,
Yeah.
I really would love to help. One of my ideas was to get celebrities to just post on social media. So I had my friend who's on Vanderpump Rules.
hilarious.
She did this at the last minute, no makeup, no hair.
What's her
For
name?
me, so we could just show an example of what, her name is Sheena Shea. Of what I want people, to post.
It's
on
quick
their
and
thing.
simple, and
And
just-
the whole
it's good
cast is going to
awareness.
do this. They have like
Cool.
10 million followers.
All right, but
To
this
me,
one
that's
is
huge.
Sheena-
This is Sheena just kind of giving an example
Sheena
of what
what?
I'm trying to get out. Sheena Shea.
Sheena Shea from Vanderbilt Rules.
Vanderpump
Plump.
Rules. Well, like
Vanderpump. Oh, okay.
Vanderpump.
Is that a whole different?
Vanderbilt Rules would be like another good reality show.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what the actual show is, so
I know,
was,
it's on
I was
Bravo.
picturing
Most
a
guys
Vanderbilt
don't.
Rules.
That
I
would
think
be cool.
she's
I
from
like
Real
that.
Housewives or some shit. It's a spin-off.
And that's why
Yeah,
I was
Lisa
thinking.
Vanderpump.
All right, roll it, Hal.
My friend Jim was recently diagnosed with a new form of MS called anti-MOG syndrome by sending in a simple blood test to Mayo Clinic. If you have transverse myelitis and optic neuritis with or without brain lesions or ATOM, make sure to go and get checked for the MOG antibody by Mayo Clinic.
So I kind of want to start a celebrity campaign, like how they did for ALS or the Ice Bucket Challenge. But just, even if it's just people posting and getting it out there, I just feel like I'm on a mission now. And my whole life is like
I've already got the logo.
changed, do you?
Yeah, we have to figure out what a MOG is and then do it in the Ghostbusters,
Well, I actually, this is,
Anti-MOG.
That's awesome.
I have the picture of the,
No, I know, but we have to create what a
front-
MOG is because it's some sort of enemy. It's some sort of villain. We
Well-
don't want the MOG, and then it's an anti-MOG thing.
my
So-
friend Jackie, she's hysterical. She wants to do a theme song
not buying
from
it.
Maud. And then there's Maud.
Lady Godiva was a freedom rider.
Right.
How
and then
old
just
is
say,
your
and then
friend?
there's Mog. How old is what?
Your friend.
Jackie?
Yeah.
Enough that she knows what Maud is.
She just
Yeah.
turned 50.
Guess what? I adore
even
you.
know what Maud is.
She must have
No.
been young when she. It's B. Arthur though.
Yes.
Which is awesome,
Well,
but
the
if
whole
you're trying
theme
to
song
get
is,
awareness,
and then there's Maud. So
Which is-
she was thinking, and then there's Maud. But
which is great. But if you're going for awareness,
right.
and people, we're publicists at heart
right.
inside. Like if
You're
people
right.
don't, if it doesn't resonate, it's bad
Yes.
advertising.
yes.
I try to. It doesn't matter.
She's
Skip
not
it.
going to like to hear that, though.
Sorry, Jackie.
That is so
Whatever.
funny.
I want so badly to bring awareness to it,
So
even selfishly, because I'm such a mess and I make life so hard for people around me. I'd like to not make it so hard. So,
Can I ask you a question?
yes, please.
This has just been happening to me recently, and I've been healing. Like the transverse myelitis, it's a 5-year recovery process. And sometimes, like I'm in partial recovery right now because I do have all this neuropathic pain in my legs and all this.
How are your
bladder.
feet? Do you mind if I ask?
My
How are your
feet are like they're on a campfire 24/7.
Yep.
Did you
Shoes.
have that?
I still have it.
Oh, and
Shoes,
I'm wearing
insoles.
diabetic socks now, which are
I have
actually
that.
helping.
I have that
Do
too.
you have that?
I literally am wearing
That's
them right
oh,
now.
you have gray ones.
I
I'm
do,
looking
of
for
course.
black and gray. I love
Compression
it.
socks. You betcha.
Yes, they
Very
really help.
funny. They
But
do.
I have to
You
be
gotta make
honest.
sure they're pulled up, otherwise they don't
Well,
do
have
shit.
you-
That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, really?
Pulling them up. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to be up and
Oh,
over.
I didn't even know that. But
Yeah.
it's shocking the difference. I spent a year and a half with this feeling, taking Neurontin, Lyrica, I don't even know what, like all these different pills. Nothing's helped.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better. Do you have it where one day it's
I don't
better?
take anything.
But you're feeling, like, does the
Oh,
feeling get better and worse?
Yeah, you know what affects it for me? Diet and energy.
Really?
And quite frankly, energy is the more important of the two. Diet helps feed the energy, etc.
So my Reiki, is that, do I pronounce, I don't even pronounce it
Reiki,
right.
Reiki, whatever.
Reiki,
I think it's
Reiki, I think.
holistic practitioner recommended CBD pills with turmeric and black pepper extract. It's like 70% better.
No
Since I
shit.
started it.
Now you're
So
talking.
now it feels like I took my feet off the campfire. But that's,
Wow.
yeah. And so my
That's
doctor had explained, because I have terrible fatigue as well,
Mm-hmm.
that the fatigue is coming from all this pain that we deal with. your body is physically fatigued.
Blood sugar, okay?
Yeah.
So no diabetes, none of that. So you know it's all what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a thyroid. I have Graves' disease, which is another autoimmune disease. But yeah, no.
Good grief.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But you know what?
That's a lot of stuff.
Like, you must understand. It's like you get to a point where you do have to just like go on and push through it. And
yeah,
like,
at what point is enough
right
and you just go on with life and you figure out something else. You go, oh, I can't do that anymore. That's cool. But there's this whole other spectrum of stuff I can do.
Right.
That's where we are. That's what this all is.
And when I went to Mayo Clinic, it really inspired me. Like, it is such an amazing facility. And I'm working with them now. I'm hosting an event in March, which you're coming to. And they're going to fly in my doctor and a few other doctors. It's not a fundraiser. It's just a fun event. We're going to have activities for adults, and they're going to get up and just talk about what they do. Wow. And if you need, their services. And they're also creating a link. They don't want me to fundraise because they don't want me to be stressed, which I think is so cool.
That will take your energy away, and then you will be thinking about that instead of the work.
That they're concerned about
that's huge.
Not fun.
So, I'm just rolling it in my head. I'm going, oh, all the reasons. That's wonderful to have that kind of support.
And I love that. That's why I felt these guys are real and genuine, and I don't know. I just love them.
It makes my
heart
so
the other
happy.
thing that I did want to ask you, and my brain fog stopped, is lately I can't tell time if I read a clock. Not always, but I'll look. Do you have that? And I think it's 4 o'clock, or is it?
Are you talking about digital or
no? Not digital, like
old-fashioned regular hands.
I can't tell time, and I have word things that I can't come up with a word. That happens to you too?
All the time.
So is it the complexity of the problem solving?
Well, I don't know. My neurologist showed me in my brain.
I'm asking specifically because if you used to do anything like what she used to do, and it sounds like you used to do all of that stuff and more.
I don't know more, but
no. I Jesus Christ, this is you fucking guys in your goddamn competition. My point is,
she was used to handle BNC. That's like a big
handle crazy ass complex schedules, many at a time, at a quantum level almost.
24/7.
24/7, even when you're sleeping, keeping it straight, the whole thing. I'm convinced that's what gave her MS. I'm convinced that's what gave you MS just by talking to you, because I can see how fritzoed your fucking thoughts are.
Yeah.
You got the same wiring she does.
Yeah, we do.
And it's like you guys yanked some, but you didn't yank all of them, and
I know. I don't know where MS.
Yeah.
Do you have any relatives that have MS?
Not that have been tested and gone through the process, because it is a really long, drawn-out thing, and you have to be really open to looking at yourself.
Right. Because my first cousin has a really bad, and it then sparks my interest in genetic. Is it genetic? Is it like they don't even know?
I see all the pieces in family members, and I don't want to be like, and that's why.
Yeah.
But what do you do? I know we have
But
to
you
go.
have such a great... Oh, are we...
No, it's... I mean, soon.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to wrap it up soon, but I don't feel like you guys got into any,
I know.
nearly as much.
Well, we're going to talk
So why don't you guys... I know, but for the sake of the show, don't you have some questions here or anything specific you wanted to ask, Jim?
We got through so much of it because it
'cause
really
I
was...
away.
No, that's good. As long as you got stuff covered.
I learn best and I find out best through conversation. Mm-hmm. So what's been hardest for me through this whole process is that I haven't had anyone that I could talk to and get straight talk back. Mm-hmm. So when you were asking questions earlier about like bladder, bowel, whatever, it's like, I make no bones about it. Like I've shit myself at public places we've been when we've been out with people, and it's horribly embarrassing.
Right.
And it's awful. But if I can't at least have that as my new baseline, that people know that it could happen, that it's just a human thing that happens, and I'm more plagued with human things.
Right.
Like just having conversations with people helps me understand things about people. And like that's what I loved about working with comedians so much, is like they tend to be more open because they're more... thought a lot about this too, like actors and actresses, like you really insulate them from people in terms of like who they really are. So like you set up hair and makeup, and like that becomes a really important part of doing that, because it's protecting who they are and making who they are.
Right.
So I forget where I was going. But comedians are more raw typically. And so being able to just have side conversations while they were waiting to go do a talk show, we didn't talk about what they were going to talk about on the show. We talked about like the gross thing that happened to them 10 minutes ago.
On the car ride or...
Yeah, and it just made me feel better because it was more of a human connection.
Yes.
And when I lost that, I got sicker. And I took so much out on him because I couldn't ask a lot of people, or I would ask or say things, and they were so PC in a loving way.
Yes.
I was
You weren't
like, you're
getting the
not being
answer you needed,
honest.
yeah.
Right.
I need you to I'm telling you flat out that my face is not matching what I'm saying, that I'm not
Right.
using the right words. And you telling me out of love that I look great or that I sound normal when I don't. I sound like a lunatic and I look weird. And I know that, and I'm saying it. And when people
Wait, you
are
really
saying,
feel that though?
yeah, not as much now.
Okay. 'cause
I definitely
don't
feel that
see
way
at
about my
all.
thoughts, but at the time,
Okay.
and we took pictures. He'd be like, "Look angry" or "Look
Right.
happy," and I'd be like,
Right.
the opposite. Like it was so weird,
That is
and like,
weird.
We would literally do
Really?
that.
Yeah.
It was an exercise.
that's-
Look, I'm a problem. So like, I want to find the nuts and bolts of all of this stuff because I think I can help her
Right.
work through it.
And you have.
So it comes down to things like I'll go, oh, smile,
Right.
and then she makes this,
That's so...
and then I'll be like, cool, here's your smile, and I'll be like, angry, and she'll do angry, and it's like a little bit more friendly,
Right.
And it's like, okay, here's your friendly, and she's just
so-
like, I don't know what to tell you.
I get it.
And there's
I
no
mean,
problem with that, but she needs to know about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
she
Yes.
doesn't know what it's all about. The
It's-
awareness, whether it's your own or other people.
Absolutely.
Be aware.
I know. And then
Center.
you've had issues too. My husband...
We've all had issues. Everybody's
Right.
had issues.
My husband, though, has had a hard time.
well,
It's
then
like...
as long as
being
you
a
have someone to
Get him
talk
here.
to,
I know, I want to, actually. I've
Please.
been thinking, oh, we're sitting here.
What's his ailment? Other than you.
taking care
What's
of.
his ailment?
Yeah. You
Me.
said he's had a
Yeah.
hard time. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You mean, that's what you mean. You mean
That's
just
what I
being
mean.
next to you. It's
Yes, as a caregiver. I mean,
It's a lot.
everyone, anyone I talk to, they say the same thing about their husband or wife as a caregiver, but it is. I feel terrible, like that he has to watch me go through stuff, help me, whatever it is. But he's been wonderful, and I could see that you guys have like this amazing connection,
is
and I
this.
believe the same thing. It is like that.
So we were like this the whole when we
Yeah.
first met. Like life was great, tons
Right.
of money, tons of clients, tons of business, like everything, crazy cars. Life was grand,
Right.
And then
you-
the health goes, and then all of those other things go
Mean
with
nothing.
it because the health is the most important, and you
Yep.
funnel everything else into the health.
And you can grow closer.
Yes, and that's what happened when we were down here.
Yeah.
We actually grew closer
That's
than
what
we
we
did
did.
before we were married when we went through the shit.
Yep.
Now you go through the shit and then you start to grow together.
Yeah.
And that's where we are now. And once you fucking connect those dots and make whatever needs to switch, holy crap, the magic just happens.
Wait, how long
and
have
that's
you
where
been
this
together?
all is. 8 years.
Oh, 8 years.
8
We've been
years.
22 years.
Yeah, you guys have been together for a while.
Yeah. 8
So
and
it's-
change.
It just helps so much, and I
It does.
say incorrectly and improperly and not enough to him often.
I know, right?
But it's such a big deal.
Yeah. Well, you
Caregivers,
look great, and
thanks.
your energy is unbelievable.
Good, I'll talk to you in an hour.
So-
I'm assuming that you guys might be the same in this. This is her old job that you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
She is
Yes.
any energy that was going to be used today has
Right.
been
Yeah.
wrapped up into this for
Yes.
this. The moment we're done, it's going to be like you guys are going to get a
That's-
coffee and
yeah.
you're going to wear each other down, and then she's going to come back and go to bed.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
Do you
like,
have to explain to people the difference between fatigue and sleeping? Does everybody ask you if you've been
no one asked
sleeping?
me. They just make judgments about me to
Right,
me.
judgments,
and I'm like,
yes.
I've stopped. Like the other day, I had a sweatshirt on. It was like over 100 degrees here, but I was sitting outside reading, and it was better for the shade and blah blah. And
Yeah.
I don't feel anything, so I was like, whatever. And someone was like, "You have a sweatshirt on," and I was like, "Yeah, I know." And he was like, and I was like, "Oh yeah." I was trying to be polite. He was with a friend of mine, and I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "No, really, like, don't you feel it?" He's like, "It's hot," and I was like, "I don't feel it." Like I was trying to just.
it's a regular person
Yeah.
who she doesn't know very well and doesn't know what
Extricate.
she deals with on
Right.
a regular basis. It was just a regular person.
But I was just trying to extricate myself from the conversation. Like I didn't need to talk about it with. I was trying to talk to my friend, whatever. And I was like, I don't feel anything. And he's like, typical.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever, man. I don't even know what that means. I don't
That's
care.
what I mean, though. It's a regular person
Right.
trying to be funny with
Right.
another regular person, and it's like
That's-
that person has never been through shit yet. And then one
Well,
day they
that's-
will, and then
that's-
one day they will understand, and that moment
Yeah.
will come back to haunt them, and then they'll reconcile it, and then they'll be better.
Yeah.
You know
No
what I mean?
one.
It's how it works.
It's unfortunate that no one can feel it unless they've felt it. I mean, and it's hard, I think, for people to sympathize, empathize.
Joni Mitchell.
If you haven't been through it, yeah.
Joni Mitchell.
Yes.
I've looked at life from both sides now.
That's right.
There it is.
That's it.
You're a
thank you.
pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
You started this before we even rang. You're like, I want to be friends with you. We want to be friends with you.
Oh,
Can't wait to
thank
meet
you.
Kevin.
We're already, I mean, we're connected. So,
Yeah.
and now, I didn't know you had a spinal thing. So
No,
we're
no,
all
I don't.
connected.
I don't. I'm good. But I've had a lot of things, from scoliosis to fucking I've had a lot of things.
Well, you look great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love you,
Can't wait to have
Mrs.
you
Ryan.
back. I
How do
love
you
you
feel?
I feel good today. I mean, not really, but
At the end of the show, how do you feel about the show? How do you feel
I
about
feel
all
great
of this?
about the show. I'm so excited.
I'm curious if you
everyone.
got what you need, if you feel fulfilled about this
Well,
awesome
we're
guest.
I
that
feel
was here.
fulfilled for our
long-term-
part one, but we're going to be
Yes.
friends for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
I feel good.
I mean, holy cow.
I make
All right.
everything difficult.
No. It's all good. I love everybody. We love you. We love you at home. Tomorrow we've got. Did I have a blue card?
Winston.
What did I do?
Oh, I don't know.
Throw all my blue cards away? I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. Yeah, we've got Winston. There, I put him over there. Winston Bird. Isn't the
Coming
Craig
tomorrow.
Rock? Yeah, the Nasty Delicious band.
Nasty Delicious band.
Awesome. Sorry for all that, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.